Hi there. My name is Sue Simmons. Hey, if you're the mom of an ASD child and you're struggling with difficult behavior, I want you to stick around. And if you're the mom of a child with autism and you've had your child in behavior therapy and you're still struggling with difficult behavior, I really want you to stick around. So my name is Sue Simmons again. I'm the founder of Equinox Family Consulting and the creator of the Better Behavior Bootcamp for ASD moms. And if you are an ASD mom, sister, I've got your back. I am on a mission, and I mean I am on a mission to help you take back your power. I want to help you learn the skills to manage difficult behavior. I want you to feel competent as a parent to your child. And I want to help you cultivate a more loving and positive relationship with your child. Are you in? All right. So welcome to episode number 8 of To the Spectrum and Beyond. This issue is what you don't know, you don't know. So you're struggling with difficult behavior even after you've had your child in behavior therapy. What's going on? Well, first of all, what I want you to know is this is not your fault. I'm going to say it again. This is not your fault. I know exactly how you feel. I have a son who's now 21, and I went through a tough time. So I understand where you're coming from. Here's the thing. You have not been given the whole picture. So I'm going to share that with you today. So we think of autism as a behavioral disorder, right? We're told about behavior, but not a lot more than that. So we're told to send our children for behavior therapy, and that's what we do. And we step aside. So moms, I want to get you back in the driver's seat, where you belong, by the way. So I'm going to share a little anecdote with you. Many years ago, Autism Ontario used to put out these really great videos in celebration of their annual campaign. And there was one that really stuck with me. And the relevance of what I'm talking about here is that behavior is communication. So just bear with me for a moment. So in this particular video, they had a group of neurotypical teens in a classroom, and they simulated sensory processing challenges. So they had these teens seated in chairs. The chairs were a little bumpy. They were a little uncomfortable. They had sandpaper on the arms of the chairs. There was a bright light shining in their eyes and a fan. And so there they sat, and then a teacher came in the room and began teaching a lesson. And so at the end of it, you can imagine what happened, right? These kids were totally unable to focus. Not only that, they were really irritated. And the same thing would happen with any of us, right? Behavior is communication. So ASD is much more than sensory challenges, as you know. And one of the things that so few people know about is that your child's developmental age and chronological age are not equal. So your child's development has not taken place in a typical fashion, which is why your child likely acts somewhat younger than his chronological age. And here's the other thing. Your child's ability to take in, make meaning of, and act on information that's incoming, or we call that processing information, has been compromised, also as a result of the wiring in your child's brain. So what happens as a result? What do we see on the surface? We see frustration, We see anxiety. We see overwhelm. And what's the result of all of that? Behavior. We see behavior. Is this a surprise for these kids in a classroom? No, it's not. And so here's the really crazy thing. What do we do with these poor kids that are stressed out and overwhelmed? We send them for behavior therapy. To me, there's probably a better way. So I was thinking about this. You know, I'm having some trouble with my husband's behavior. I was wondering if I should send him off for some behavior therapy. It sounds like a great idea to me. What do you think? Do you think it'll work? No, I wish it would, because I would seriously consider it. Of course it's not going to work because we are in a relationship, right? And you're in a relationship with your ASD children as well. And here's the thing that really makes me crazy. We expect our kids to change. And why is that? Well, in my view, it's because a lot of people don't really understand what autism is below the behavior. There's so much more to it, and we're just concentrating on the behavior, and I think we're really missing the boat. So we expect our kids to change. We put them in therapy, they're back in schools and doing their thing, and they get home at the end of the day and things happen, they're frustrated. And what happens? We get mad at them. Our expectations are maybe out of whack. You know, why is he not listening? Why is he not just doing what I told him to do? Why isn't he trying? Do you see what I mean? So behavior is communication. So let's unpack that just a little bit. You know, our kids are really not a whole lot different than we are. You know, they are not from another planet. They're human beings. They have feelings just like we do. They experience all the same basic emotions. They have fear, of course. They have sadness. They have anger, but they also have happiness. They have sadness. And we often are so focused on the behavior that we really don't think about what's going on underneath it unless it's happiness. And then another thing that I really emphasize with my one-on-one clients and my moms in my Better Behavior Bootcamp is chances are your child is much more aware of what's going on than you give him or her credit for. You know, we often talk about our kids as though they're not there, and they may be understanding more about what's going on, and that's going to create feelings for your child. So be very careful about what you say when your child is around. Now let's look at that as a positive. Your child is likely capable of a lot more than you give them credit for. In my one-on-one work with my clients, parents are always shocked at how much more their child is capable of than they thought, which is pretty exciting. For me, the biggest aha was when I left my job to be with my son when he was about 6. So I had a great job. I left the job so that I could be at home and be supporting him. And it took me a long time and a lot of mistakes to figure out that behavior really is communication. I did not know then what I know now. So out of love, I put my son in all kinds. Hey, Karen, thanks for sharing. Out of love, I put my son in all kinds of programs and groups, and I was thinking, oh, we're going to have so much fun. And what do you think happened? It just made matters worse. And you know, I did all of this out of love. I just didn't know any better. And now I do. So what I want to say to you, moms, is in order to really help our kids, and ourselves, in order to make our family life better, we have to start getting underneath the behavior instead of just trying to stop it. We've got to start accommodating for our kids instead of expecting them to make the changes. And this is what we do in my Better Behavior Bootcamp. I'm going to talk more about that in just a couple of minutes. But hey, before I forget, share this video, like this video, send this out to everyone you know, especially a mom of a child with autism. I am on a mission and I want to get this information out to as many moms as I can. It doesn't matter if you're watching the replay, share, please share. So, where was I? Right, so Better Behavior Bootcamp, we're going to talk about that in just a moment. So I got a little sidetracked, I get all excited. So I'm going to move now to 3 reasons you're having a hard time with behavior at home, even if your child has been in behavior therapy. So number 1, I've already talked about this. Your child is at school all day, likely, and he or she is working so hard just to keep his shit together during the school day. You've been to schools, you know what it's like. It's crazy, right? Mayhem in the hallways, mayhem out on the schoolyard, transitions, lunchtime. This takes a lot of energy for your child to really keep his shit together, right? So when he comes home from school, what do you think happens? So I use the analogy of holding a beach ball underwater. So your child comes home from school and whoosh, out comes this beach ball and the behavior follows, right? You can only keep it together for so long. And I hear moms saying all the time, well, my child behaves so much better when they're not with me. Why? Well, this is kind of a roundabout compliment, but here's the thing. Your child knows you love him or her unconditionally, and you are your child's safe landing place. So when your child is with you, he knows he's not going to be turfed out the door, right? So he lets his hair down. He does what he needs to do. And unfortunately, you are on the receiving end of this behavior. And that's why I want to help you. It doesn't help you right now, but it can if you stick around. So number 1, just trying to keep it together. Number 2, you are the safe landing spot. But number 3 is by far the most important point. Now, here's the thing. Think about me wanting to send my husband for behavior therapy, which I'm still on the fence about that, but truly deep down in my heart, I know it wouldn't do anything because we are in a relationship. And like I said, you're in a relationship with your child too. And what happens? Over time, you and your child fall into negative, repetitive behavior patterns. Your child is smart. Your child knows how to push your buttons, right? And you are prone to being triggered by this behavior. We're human. We are human. We just react. So many of us are on autopilot. And that's another big part of the Better Behavior Bootcamp. So what happens in the bootcamp is we pick apart these negative behavior patterns that occur between you and your child. And, by the way, everything that moms learn in the Better Behavior Bootcamp is applicable to the rest of their children, to their other children and their husbands too. So you have to really look at these patterns and you have to understand what's going on underneath the behavior. We have to understand how we're involved because we can't separate our child's behavior from our own, which is why you can't send a child for behavior therapy and expect it to have an impact on your family life at home. Sure, maybe some things may improve. They teach amazing skills. So I'm not suggesting that it's not helpful. I'm definitely not knocking behavior therapy or behavior therapists for sure. But here's the reality of it. as moms, you need to take back your power. You need to learn how to understand and how to manage this difficult behavior. Why? Because little behaviors won't stay little. Little behaviors are going to become bigger behaviors, just like little children are going to become big people. And you're responsible for your child's future. You know, it took me a long time to really understand this. You know, I could have my child doing different types of therapy, but at the end of the day, when the therapy or the program is over, it's really up to me. And so I am really responsible for my child's future. Do you understand what I mean? It's kind of a tough pill to swallow, but it really is the truth. So we can only rely on therapists and other professionals for so much. There comes a time when your child is going to be just with you, and this child is going to be in your life as long as you're around. You know your child better than anyone else. Who has the most to gain by helping your child? Well, of course your child, but you too. So there came a point in my life where I really had to really think and make a decision. Am I going to take action here, or am I just going to hope for the best? So I bit the bullet and I got support and I did the work. And was it work? It was. But holy cow, what a difference it made. One of the biggest things that I noticed is once I started understanding my son's behavior and I started understanding how I fit into it, anxiety decreased. And once anxiety decreases, then that is really the gateway for all change to occur. And who is better to take on this role than you as a mom? Now, I've been working with families since I think 2006, and I've seen it over and over. It does take work, but it is so worth it. And so if you are determined to help your child, and if you want to be in the lead, you are definitely in the right place. So I would like to read a short little passage from one of my recent boot campers. Her name is Valerie, and she lives in Newcastle, Ontario. And here's what she said. Sue's program was a real eye-opener for me. I had no idea that I could learn to communicate in a way that could improve my relationship with my son, let alone reduce his stress. What I learned will take practice, but now I know how to talk to him without making so many demands. It feels good. Valerie, I'd like to thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. And it really is an eye-opener for all of the moms that have been through the boot camp and all of the parents that I've worked with over the years. So I'm going to share a little bit about the boot camp. I've had a lot of people asking for more information, but before I do, I just want to point out that I have created a guide. It's called A Guide to Understanding Autism and Difficult Behavior. And if you don't have the guide, I highly suggest that you download it right now. All you have to do is key in guide down below in the comments. And we have also started a brand new Facebook group for moms of ASD children. It is called Lemons to Lemonade ASD Moms Group. And if you would like to get more information about the group, all you have to do is type in lemons down below, and you will be able to get a link to join the group. And so you can type in lemons, you can type in guide, and okay, so let me see. Also, I said it at the beginning, but I'm going to say it again. Please share. I am on a mission to help moms. I know how hard it is. I know how lonely it is. And I want to help you if you are struggling. So please share this broadcast, like this broadcast, share it to everyone you know. I am on a mission, and you can help me get my mission out there to the people that really need to hear this information. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the Better Behavior Bootcamp, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you some information, and then down below you can ask your questions. And then next Tuesday, I don't know the date offhand, but I do know today is Friday the 22nd. So next Tuesday, I'm going to have a special live Q&A in the Lemons to Lemonade Moms Facebook group, and I want you to be there so that I can answer your questions and we can talk more. Okay? Great. So why did I start the boot camp? I started the boot camp because I've been sitting back thinking, I've been working with one-on-one families for many years, and it's gratifying. I love it, but I want to get my message out to more people. So I decided to create a program that would take sort of the information that was pertaining to communication and behavior and encapsulate it into a separate piece of learning that could be done in a shorter period of time. Something that could be done online from anywhere. So this is an online group coaching program for moms or dads of children with ASD. And I want to say that I'm not shunning dads. It's just that it's primarily moms that tend to be on the front line. So dads, I mean no disrespect, please. So you are welcome too. And so I started this program in January of this year. I actually developed the program in the fall of last year while I was away for 6 months with my daughter, who was very ill at the time. And it has been such a joy. The moms that have been in the program really, really love the connection that they build with other moms in the group who are struggling with more or less the same things. We have a private Facebook group separate from the Lemons to Lemonade group, and I'm in the group every single day, encouraging, supporting, answering questions, and cheering moms on. All of the calls are recorded, so if you miss a call, and we use the Zoom video conferencing platform, so if you miss a call, you can come back or go back in and watch it later. So each week, it's an 8-week program. We were at 7 weeks, but now we've decided to make it an 8-week program just so we can stretch things out and give you a little more time to learn and implement. I'm creating worksheets for each week, and this is new. So at the end of each week, I will have a worksheet for you to work through that will help you think about your circumstances and reflect on what's going on in your life. So this will be very relevant to you. The next week builds on the previous week, and so on and so forth. So by the end of the 8 weeks, you have the tools and skills to help you move forward. You will have a roadmap. And at the end of 8 weeks, I'm also going to be offering a sort of an implementation phase as well. So what do we cover? Well, first of all, I teach a developmental approach to autism rather than a behavioral approach to autism. So a developmental approach sees behavior as part of the problem, absolutely, but that's only one part, and autism stems much deeper. I talked about the wiring in the brain earlier. So why is this important? It's important so that A, we can understand, but B, most importantly, we can do something about it. Once we understand the challenges that our kids are experiencing, and we learn how to understand, to communicate with them in a way that reduces their anxiety, that's when the magic can happen. So I teach a view of autism that empowers you to be able to make positive change. Okay, and you can share this information with family and caregivers. They can watch replays. So this isn't just about you, Mom. You're on the front line. You're going to be in the driver's seat, but you can absolutely share this information with the rest of your family. Let's see, what else? Right. I'm going to teach you how to understand your own behavioral style. And you may be thinking, well, why is this important? This is about my child. Well, no, it's not really. We've already talked about the fact that you cannot separate your child's behavior from your own. Remember, I talked about those negative patterns that develop between children and parents, and children and siblings, and so on. So these negative patterns occur just because of life, right? Because kids are kids. And it's up to us to help pick those things apart and make changes so that we can learn to smooth the waters and involve our children as much as possible in that process. So once you understand your behavioral style, for example, I'm a very chit-chatty person, I'm a go, go, go person, and that's who I am. So when I'm backed into a corner feeling under stress, I can get really gabby, I can get kind of pushy. So over the years I've learned to moderate myself through self-awareness so that I can be aware of how I'm showing up with my child. And that is a big part of the equation. And so this really isn't just about your child. So I have done some time in executive coaching. So I've worked with the tools to help people understand their behavioral styles. So I bring that in as a bonus so that you can understand your strengths, because we all have strengths, but we all have challenges associated with our style. So that's a big part of it. How to communicate in a way so that your child can really hear you. And what do we tend to do? Talk, 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 talk. So I teach the skills so that moms can really show up in a way they're more present for their child, and their child can take in more of what they're saying. So that is a huge takeaway for the moms that have been in the groups thus far. How to stop nagging and how to get your child to do what you want. Like, who wants to nag? Nagging sucks, right? It sucks as much for our kids as it does for us. So let's just stop it. Let's just stop it. Let's learn how to get our kids to do what we want in a better way, in a way that doesn't create anxiety for them. How to minimize the frequency and duration of meltdowns. Okay, let's talk about, meltdowns suck, right? But there are some super simple things that you can do that will help to reduce the frequency and duration of meltdowns. Does it take practice? Yeah, all of this does. Is it worth it? You tell me. This is your child, right? What else? Self-care. Oh boy. Yeah, self-care is a big one. I'm going to tell you that I came so dangerously close to crashing. It wasn't even funny. And it wasn't until I began to really take self-care seriously that I began to feel like a human being again. And it wasn't until then that I could actually start being more present with my family, because I was just a walking zombie. And I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way. So I insist on self-care for the members in my group. It is part of the package. And I'm not talking about anything extensive. I'm talking about just, small, meaningful things. But I will hold you accountable. Okay, and you can also have an accountability partner as part of the program. Reframing your negative thoughts. How much of the time do you walk around thinking negative thoughts? That's part of being human. But we can reframe our thoughts. And this is something that I use every single day of my life. And when I learned about reframing thinking, and what that really means is looking at things from a different perspective, things really change. When we're looking for negative things, we're almost guaranteed to find them. EFT, emotional freedom techniques. I am a certified practitioner, and I love EFT. EFT is a mind-body methodology that is evidence-based. It is amazing to help reduce stress and anxiety. This time I'm going to teach it so that you can teach your child to use it as well. It's simple to learn, it is simple to use, and it's very, very effective. So each week I give the moms tapping scripts so that they can use it for themselves. It's a wonderful, wonderful tool. How to reduce your child's anxiety. That's so big, so big. There are so many simple things that we can do to reduce our child's anxiety. Your child walks around, by the way, feeling anxious pretty much all the time, unless they're sitting in front of the video game doing this. And there's a reason for that too, right? Behavior is communication, as you're going to hear me say over and over and over. Setting effective limits. Well, this is pivotal. As a mom, in order to feel competent, we need to understand how to set limits. You know, what is a limit? How do we set it? What's involved? How do we know what's reasonable? Those are all things that you will learn in the Better Behavior Boot Camp. Let's see, how to stop getting into behavior or power struggles. That is huge. We either walk around tiptoeing, walking on eggshells, which is what I did for a number of years, or we scream and yell. And hey, we're human, right? If we don't know any better way, we do what we have to do. I get it. I've been there. I understand. But there is a better way. So I'm going to teach you some straightforward strategies on how to avoid getting hooked into power struggles. What else have I missed? Each of the moms in the group gets a one-on-one coaching session with me. It could be using EFT or not. And so I like this to happen toward the beginning of the program so that you can implement the things that I coach you on and use them throughout the duration of the program. And I think I've covered pretty much all the bases. So if you want more information on the Lemons to Lemonade Bootcamp, excuse me, the Better Behavior Bootcamp, type in Lemons down below. Put your questions down below in the comments section. Join the Lemons to Lemonade Facebook group. Come to the group next Tuesday at 11, where I'll answer your questions live. If you can't be there live, no problem. You'll be able to catch a replay, but I want to see you there. This is a group that is new, but it's going to keep growing. In this group, I'm going to be teaching, I'm going to be supporting, and I'm going to be sending my message out so that you guys can send the message out to the world that things can get better. Things can improve. But you know what? If there's one thing I know for sure, they don't improve on their own. Your child may get older, but your child's development is not necessarily, it's not going to catch up to where it should be. So there's no way that you could learn this stuff on your own, no matter how patient or how well-read you are. It really requires coaching, and I want to be that coach for you. So share this broadcast. Share, share, share. Get my guide, just type in guide below. I think I've repeated myself enough times that you've probably got it now. Thank you so much for being here. And if you're watching the replay, again, you can type in all the things I mentioned and get the information after the fact. And final parting comment, I want you to know that I care so deeply about you. I care so deeply about your child. I know what it's like. I have walked in your shoes. I put my heart and my soul into this work, and anyone who has worked with me will know that that is true. And I want to support you. I want to make your life better, because it can be. This is not a life sentence, sister. Things can get better, but you must take action. So please join me next Thursday at 2 p.m. for my next Facebook Live. We're doing this today because we ran into some technical glitches, compliments of moi. Anyhow, we'll be doing our Facebook Lives every Thursday at 2 p.m. to the spectrum and beyond. People, thank you so much for being here. This is Sue Simmons signing off, and have a great weekend. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.